Hey everyone, it's your man James, Mr. Sequential Treasures, back again with some more video action for you. Today I'm doing a little something that I've been teasing you with and promising you, and here it is. It's the return of Why It's Great. This is the video series where I talk about something that I think is a really cool issue that I really love. I tell you why I think it's awesome and why maybe you should want to check it out for yourself. And but as I did note, this is going to be a little different than in the past. First of all, you can see it's here on my channel and not on Pop's on Pop Culture, not on his channel. And normally I do these with Pops, but due to some scheduling stuff, not the least of which is we both live on different coasts, which time zones come into play with that. But his work schedule has become such that it's become untenable. And rather than just sit around and hope and wait for things to change on his schedule, there, I thought, well, maybe I should just try to be the baby bird leaving the nest and just take off on my own. And so that's what I'm going to do. So for at least for the time being, when you see these, they will be just me alone, giving you my take on a book rather than the two of us. Hopefully, though, we can get back to that. I hope Pop's schedule will sort of adjust to where we can try to get it to where we were doing it before. But until then, this is how it has to be. And as you can see, I am trying to make some improvements for you. You already saw that sweet intro I created. I'm getting pretty good at those now. I got to say, I used to think it was kind of hard to come up with all these intros I saw people doing, and like, well, there's one right there. That's pretty sweet. So hope you guys enjoyed that. And we'll move on here from here because the whole point to why it's great for those of you who may not have seen this before um, is that I talk about a book I think is cool because I think while there's a lot of bad stuff out there that gets roasted and rightfully so, we should also be talking about some good stuff, even if it's stuff from the past, because people want to know what there's something out there that's worth reading rather than just hearing about, well, this sucks and that sucks and this is no good. And like I said, that can be fun roasting stuff, but let's give people some reasons to spend their money on something. Hey, here's some good stuff. You should go check this out if you haven't already. And that's kind of what why it's great is all about. It's to get you to, feel a little enthusiasm, maybe a little excitement for checking out a book that maybe you probably haven't before, or even if you have. So that's just what I do with this, and hopefully it'll be kind of something that you will enjoy. And so let's get a show on the road today. And today, as you can no doubt tell, today's new book is going to be from the New Warriors series from the 1990s, issue number 8. So let me get everything set up here, and first we'll take my mug off here because we don't need to see me. I'm not that important. But what is important is the book itself. So let's go ahead and boot that up. Boom. And there you go. Here it is. New Warriors number 8 by Fabian Nizia, Mark Bagley, and Larry Malstadt. Now, this to me is like one of the best books of the series. And it's funny because it's at the middle part of a 3-part saga called Hard Choices. And just to give you, you get to see from this great split screen image how awesome this is. Just let's see if we can zoom in a bit here. You can see, yeah, just look at that image on the top with Punisher just blasting, Night Thrasher, and then the rest of the team in peril. As they each face different challenges, and this to me was the quintessential, this book of young heroes trying to find their way in the world and make it a better place when dealing with things that are not always so clear cut, good and evil, not being so clear all the time. And yet they did it in a way that was both relatable and also made sense. It's not like today where like they try to make everything, everything is a shade of gray. No good person is truly good. No evil person is truly evil. This just said that, sometimes, there are things that will happen and the answers aren't clear cut. You want easy answers to complex problems. And that's not always the case. And that's kind of what they dealt with in this series. And I thought they really did a real good job of it. And again, this storyline in particular is one that really spotlighted that. Now, just to give you a brief synopsis, in the issue before, Night Thrasher's girlfriend, Silhouette, is attacked by a character called the Bengal. And then she's also being tailed by a shadowy somebody who turns out to be the Punisher. And she runs to Night Thrasher for help. But the rest of the team find out that Speedball's mother, who was doing some environmental work down in the Amazon, has gone missing and is believed kidnapped. So he wants the team to go down there to help rescue his mother. And so this is how they end up with they get the split screen here. They end up at cross purposes. Night Thrasher says he's staying in New York to help Silhouette. The rest of the team go down to the Amazon to help Speedball's mother. So this is kind of where we are. And as the story left off, Night Thrasher fought the Bengal and defeated him. But just as he defeats him, who shows up on the scene? The Punisher. And that's where we continue on with this. So we got right here to the first page. And again, just look at this great imagery here by Bagley and Malstadt. I mean, they're just the great shot of the Punisher there, and Night Thrasher, jumping in there. This is the way you do superhero comics, folks. Right here. I mean, right here from the jump, this is superhero comics action, right in the thick of it. In your face. And again, I like how this opening splash page, sort of in a way, kind of mirrors the cover, because you got the split screen effect. And I like that a lot. You get two different views. You get the Punisher's view and you get Night Thrasher's view, of what they see. And, of course, you got the classic, dialogue here with the Punisher War Journal. He's talking about why he's involved in all this. And it turns out he believes Silhouette is once again helping out with her brother's gang. Her brother is Midnight's Fire. He's someone from Night Thrasher's past. He's a criminal, and he thinks that she is now running the operation in his stead. Of course, we all know that's not true, but the Punisher doesn't. And the thing is when you watch this, I mean, here you go. This battle is just epic. It's just totally epic. Let me get it right here. I mean, and I love the dialogue here. He just leaps at the Punisher, and he's like, "What the bleep does he have that in? What the bleep does he have in that armor? Hydraulics? Ugh! Razor Ed caught me with that stupid got me. I called it stupid. It serves as a shield and a weapon at the same time. Maybe I should get one. I just love this. So all this is going through the Punisher's head as he's in the middle of a fight. I just love the dialogue, and again, you can see that look at the great camera angles that Bagley decides to use for this. You got the great shot of him leaping up, then the close-up shot, Punisher ducking, then another close-up. Whoops. Then you got another close-up of him, getting the gun butt to the chin, and then bam, right there. This shot right here, bang, right in the leg. He nailed me good again. So, he gives him a quick kick to get him away, because he notes that, that Night Thrasher must have some idea about weapons. He goes, he closed up the gap between us in seconds. A gun like this is next to useless in close quarters. He knew that. So you see the Punisher understands that he's dealing with someone who's probably just about as good at this game as he is. And you see it. There you go. And then there you go. The top panel. Look at that. I mean, just totally savage, just point blank range, just going off, blasting away. So the Punisher takes off because he's injured. We got to get away. I got to get out of here. I'm not going to win this fight this way. So but the Night Thrasher, is he dead? Did his armor protect him? And of course it did. And some tough guy machismo. So Sil, I'm okay, but you should see the other guy. And I just love that, the tough guy machismo. You got to love that. But Night Thrasher, he's not really playing games with this. What he's doing here, you can see right here. He said he said he was after Silhouette, and then he said that the Tiger guy was really after the Padre. So the only way to understand what's happening around here and coming out of it alive is by getting some straight answers from both of you. So he now wants to get down to what's going on here. Did the Punisher, is after Silhouette? The Bengal is after the Priest. What is going on? What am I in the middle of? And then we jump down to the team being in the Amazon. There's kind of trudging through, and I love the fact that you got the flyers like Nova and Morita and Firestar, and like they can't fly because they would lose the others down below in the jungle, so they got to just trudge on through. So kind of like it's almost like being in this environment is sort of limiting their abilities to use their powers, and I kind of like that. It's a nice little touch. But this was the real bit for me here was this scene right here that they're going through. They're talking about the Amazon rainforest, and you see, Marvel Boy, they say that each tree alone can support hundreds of different species of insects. And then, Nova comes in, that's great, Mr. Wizard. Then why are the Brazilians so intent on burning it all down? Again, kind of playing up to the whole environmental aspect. And, I love how Namorita comes in, and now listen to the way they handle this. It's not that simple, Nova. The Amazon region's been a battleground between man and nature for over 400 years. On one side, you have the developers and farmers who are pushing deeper into the jungle in order to make a living. Then you have the rubber tappers and their Indian tribes and their conservation groups fighting to stop them. And stuck in the middle is the Brazilian government, saddled with $100 billion foreign debt. And the Amazon may be their only hope for economic expansion to pay it off and survive into the next century. So, I mean, there it is right there. This what I told you at the beginning, what this series, how they handle this kind of stuff, where complex issues that don't have easy solutions. And that's what this shows right here. Her little speech about what's going on in the Amazon. It's not just a clear-cut case of these developers evil and, the environmentalists good. It's not that simple. There's a lot of moving parts. There's a lot of complexity to what's going on and why it's going on. And there's no easy answers to any of it. And that's what they're dealing with. And like I said, this is great stuff. This is the kind of stuff like, we talk about too much politics in comics today, pushing agendas, pushing political views. This is the proper way to do it. They're kind of giving you enough information to understand what the situation is, but they don't tell you have to think a certain way. Like, you have to believe that the developers are evil, or else you're a, an environmental destroying bigot. There's nothing like that. It's, here's the situation, and now you get to come to your own conclusions about it. They're just sort of like giving you almost like the information, the background, and then the rest is up to you. This is the way you do it. This is what they don't do today, and they did so well right here in this issue right here. It's just they touch on the political, but they don't force it down your throats. And this is what's missing in modern comics. And I love Cord coming in. It's everything the already says is true, but none of that matters. Let's do what we came to do, which of course is to find Speedball's mother and the others who supposedly were kidnapped. That's what they're there for. They're not there to try to solve the problems of the rainforest. They're there to find the people. So they continue on, and all of a sudden they become getting attacked by plant life for no apparent reason. So again, this is where our flyers take off to try to get, and then of course that doesn't seem to work out too well either. You got Nova getting burned, and then Namorita passes out, and then Firestar is alone against someone who has the power of the air. And I go by many different names, Firestar, isn't it? I ask only that you call me Master, for such shall I be. I mean, just again, classic villain speak. So right off the bat, this guy is not a good dude. And they of course take it even further. Oh please, child, do not seek to threaten. No, please not to threaten me, child. You're a mutant. No, a mongrel species of a mongrel race. And then he uses his power to literally take her breath away. And then at the end, of course, it doesn't turn out well for the team. And then we meet the force of nature. These characters right here, each of them, of course, air, water, fire, and I guess you say plants, but it's also land. So there it is. You got the force of nature. And they found out that, oh, wait a minute, these are the people who were missing, including Speedball's mother. And this is where they kind of gives, where, that's the whole premise is, they come in asking them, are you willing to sacrifice your very soul to save this planet for tomorrow's children? And he's asking them to join them. And Speedball says, we'll do it. We'll join you. And why? Well, because the one in there is my mother. So now what's going on? What's she involved in? And what's he getting the team involved in? Then we got a quick little synopsis here of some upcoming subplots, one with the White Queen, and then one with the female Sphinx, which will be coming up in later issues. Then we get back to the Punisher. And again, here it is. He's patched himself up as best he can. And so he's going to try to figure out exactly what it is he's dealing with. And I like this right here. He goes into, this shows you what a tactician the Punisher truly is. He's not Batman level, perhaps, but he's no slouch. he uses the scans from his van's cameras to analyze who Night Thrasher is and what he's capable of. And you can see, he kind of goes through all the details of his armor and stuff, and he goes, so he's a bulletproof as far as any conventional weaponry goes, knife proof, fireproof, punch proof. Now, what about your offensive capabilities? And then you see you see this. It goes, it shows you all the details. I love this stuff. This is the fun stuff. All the details of Night Thrasher's armor, what it can do. And he goes, all the money I put into my hardware, this kid put into himself. How? Why? This getup must have cost millions. And then comes the important thing here. He sees that there's there's just a little belt pack, but you can't analyze it. What's there? And he goes, interesting. What is it you're hiding there? The armor's power source? And more than that, Mr. Night Thrasher, what are you really hiding? Why do you do this? What turns a kid into a walking war machine? So again, the Punisher trying to understand his foe. See, and this is what makes the Punisher so effective in what he does, is he doesn't just, go just blindly running in, guns a-blazing. He analyzes the situation. He wants to understand who it is he's dealing with and what they're all about to be more effective in taking them down. This shows you the cunning of the Punisher. Again, something you don't often see too often in a lot of stories of the Punisher. You see him, taking care of business, of course, but you don't really see this side of the Punisher often. And I love that in this story that you get to see that. Then we get back to the church with Night Thrasher, Silhouette, and the priest, and we learn the story about the priest and his connection to the Bengal. And, this was all covered before, if you've read it a couple years earlier, also written by Fabian, an issue of Daredevil number 258, which introduced the Bengal. And we learned the origin of the Bengal. And here is the priest was once like a sergeant that led a troop of Vietnam, soldiers and destroyed a village. And the one who survived is the Bengal, and he tries to escape with them, as you can see here. But then, the priest, then he just kicks the kid off and leaves him to die. And he even tells him here, he goes, we couldn't abide the thought of that boy whose people had been trying to kill us moments ago, asking us for his life. So we kicked him off the chopper. I kicked him off. Lord, forgive me. And the boy disappeared into the jungle, screaming all the way down. I thought he had died. Now I realize his fate was far worse. He'd lived. He grew up to become a killer. And then, we see that the priest himself, he got court-martialed, spent time in prison, which is where he found God. And then he says, ever since then, I have served in the worst neighborhoods among the downtrodden and the underprivileged. I have tried, my children, I have truly tried to save my soul and those of others. But when that boy whom I made a killer asked me if the jungle breathed, I realized I am forever damned. And again, just the look on Night Thrasher's face as he's telling him this story. And then you see Silhouette's thoughts about it. I can feel Dwayne tensing behind me. I know what he's thinking. His parents were murdered just like the Bengals. What right does he have to stop the Bengal from exacting vengeance or justice if, for his entire life, Dwayne has wanted the exact same thing? So, now again, the hard choices come in. Here it is. He's, the Bengal's trying to kill the priest, but yet the priest wronged him in a very, very personal way. And it's a way that he himself understands because he was wronged in that way. And so, now he has to wonder, should I try to stop the Bengal? Do I even have the right to stop him? Because, he's only doing what I myself would do if I could find my parents' killers. So, again, all this complexity of stuff, no easy answers. And then we go back to the Amazon, and they're talking with the environmentalists, and they found out that it was all a hoax. The kidnapping plot was just a hoax they created. And, so they asked him, why? Why did you create this hoax? And he goes, to achieve our goals, of course, to discredit the developers as prone to rash, violent actions. But I thought you just wanted to stop them from burning down the forest. We do love, and we're willing to fight fire with fire if need be. So your way of saving the planet is through deceit, manipulation, and violence? Difficult times demand difficult actions. So you see right there, that again, listening to those words, how many of you out there can hear that ringing true today? How many social activists do we see in the real world today who sound just like this? The ends justify the means. We do what is necessary. We do what is, and even though what we do may be quote unquote wrong, it's okay that we do it because we're doing it for the right reasons. The cause is more important than the actions we used to implement it. And again, this is the kind of thing, like, the complexities of life is, maybe the rainforest needs to be protected, but do you just do anything it takes? Do you lie? Do you make up stuff about people, making them think that you were kidnapped or killed by somebody because you wanted to, as she says, discredit the developers as prone to rash, violent actions. I mean, again, this is all. I love this story because it seems to resonate over time. Again, this book came out in December of 1990, and here we are, almost 35 years later, and it's still just as much resonance today as it did then. Because as you can see, it shows you how little changes over time. So we get the breakdown on our force of nature villains here of these guys, these superpower beings that they've incorporated into the collective there. And then Cord asks the pertinent question, why tell us all this? And he goes, because you have volunteered to join our cause, and I prefer my operatives to know each other if they are to work together. You see, good people, you have agreed to help us take this ecological war to its next step. We are going to direct acts of coordinated aggression against the developers, the corporations, and the Brazilian government. So now that the team's really in the soup, they said they were going to help these people, but now it's like they're going from sort of a defensive stance to an offensive one, and they're going to attack governments and businesses and people that they feel are, the problem. But again, as Nimorita pointed out at the start of the story, is it's much more complex than that. You can't just say that the developers and the government is evil, because there are issues involved that have nothing to do. Maybe they don't want that to happen to the rainforest, but what other choices do they have? What's the solution? There's no easy answers. And here it is, the classic case of a person taking a complex issue and trying to impose a simple solution. This is what the series did so well, and it's why I think this, again, and this issue spots like all of that perfectly. So then we get back to Silhouette and Night Thrasher and the priest, and she basically tells him, she goes, have you been operating your brother's gang while he's been in prison? He goes, I haven't, Dwayne, but maybe this Punisher thinks I have been. The problem there, Sil, is that this Punisher is rarely wrong about that kind of stuff. And what about the priest? He goes, what if I don't think I should? See, he's already questioning if he should even stop the Bengal. And then just as they're trying to come to a conclusion there, of course, in comes the Punisher. I don't want to hurt any of them. Just startle them long enough for me to get some answers, and then he grabs Silhouette. He calls out Night Thrasher. I have the girl, Night Thrasher. I don't want to hurt her, but I will if you force me to. Give yourself up or the girl gets permanently absolved. And then you hear the click, and then the Punisher. Okay, fine. Now I know what he was hiding in that back compartment of his. And then there it is, the final panel. Go ahead, kill her. Just make sure she's worth it, because she'll be the last job you ever do. And to be concluded, it's like just the perfect cliffhanger ending. The Punisher totally caught off guard, which is something you don't often see. Again, this issue and this whole storyline is just probably one of the high watermarks of the series. It's got great, it's got questions of morality, questions of legality, questions of personal responsibilities, and all this stuff, of how far is too far, and what do you do in the name of a righteous cause, when are you going too far and when are you not doing enough. All these questions are in this storyline, which is why, of course, they called it Hard Choices, because that's exactly what it all boils down to. And I just love how they're able to touch on all this stuff. But yet again, unlike modern stuff, they don't tell you what to think about it. It's just sort of, this is the situation. What do you think? Here's the information. Here's what we think. Here's why these things are going on. What do you think? And I like that. It sort of engages your mind. Whereas in the past, you didn't get that from from a lot of stuff. It's the stuff of the past. A lot of like when we think like '60s and stuff, it wasn't nearly as sophisticated as this approach was, and it's definitely not that way now. It's much more today's much more propagandistic, you know, and it's much more in your face with like you have to think a certain way, whereas this didn't do that, and I love that about it. This to me again, this is how you put politics into a story without being preachy, without being abusive to people who may not feel the way you want them to feel, without being like sort of an ideological hack. This is how it's done, and it can be done. That's what I love about this. That's one of the things I probably love about this story the most is how they can show you can do these kinds of stories, complex moral quandaries and political intrigue stuff, and yet it still can be entertaining, and it doesn't have to override and cross over and destroy the characters you're using in it. I mean, there's ways it can be done just like this. And it's something I wish they would go back to, although it seems, modern stuff doesn't seem interested in that. And again, just going back to the beginning of the story here. I mean, just that opening sequence. Again, this is how you do superhero comics, folks, just like this. I mean, just look at the action in these pages. It's only 3-page long, but these 3 pages are more action-packed than just about, a 20-page comic today is. They can't even approach anything like this. And again, Bagley's art, I mean, he was probably in his prime at this rate. I mean, this was a series that really put Bagley on the map and made him he's one of my top 10 favorite artists of all time, no question. And issues like this and scenes like this, the way he depicts the action is a prime reason of why he is that for me. I just think the dynamism, the excitement, the rawness of this battle, it's savage, it's relentless, it just you cannot, it's undeniable in its brutality, and that's what makes it so great. And again, this is something else they don't seem to be able to do so much in modern comics. They could never do a battle sequence like this in a modern comic. They don't have the wherewithal, they don't have the abilities, it seems, to do it either artistically or thematically. And it's again, so but this is classic comics. This came out December 1990 is when this was out on newsstands. I remember because it was just before I turned 17 years old, and 17-year-old me, this book was just like wildfire. Like, wow, I just can't get enough of this. I want more. And so if you like great stories with a little bit of political intrigue, with some questionable moralities and quandaries, with plenty of gut busting action, yeah, you can't go wrong with New Warriors #8. And I say the whole storyline, 7 through 9, all 3 of the parts, just the hard choices storyline is just perfection. It's perfection. This to me is a book that's firing on all cylinders, artistically and storyline wise, and thematically. Everything about it is just perfect. The characters are all in sync. They all sound exactly how they should sound. There's nobody in there who's being treated in a way that's disrespectful towards, anyone who may be a fan of that character, like the established ones like, Nova and Firestar. If you like those characters, they're treated with respect here. This is good stuff. If you haven't ever tried out the old New Warriors book, please do. Like I said, this, starting at issue 7 and go through 9, this story blew me away when I first read it at 17 years of age, and I'm sure it'll blow you away too. It's just pure excitement, pure adventure with moral quandaries and questions. And again, little bits in there that you saw were like it kind of almost like a mirror of today. It's like that's how it was then, and it's still that way now. How little has changed in 3.5 decades, and just beautiful, beautiful stuff. So there you go, folks. New Warriors #8, a totally classic story, one that I think stands the test of time, and that I think anybody, if you're a fan of great comics, if you're a fan of Bagley's work, if you're a fan of superheroes, if you're a fan of just about anything you could think of, this is the kind of book you should check out. So definitely go and check that out if you haven't already. And like I said, it shouldn't be too expensive. I try to I try to find books in this series where they're not going to bust your budget, because I know how tough it is out there right now, especially financially. So you want stuff that's not going to be too expensive. And again, to get these three parts, 7 through 9, I don't think it'd be more than maybe around $20 to get the three parter if you got them in a nice high grade. But great stuff, classic comics. Just the kind of stuff that we're all missing. If you're a fan of comics, this is what you want. This is what we've been begging for years, and they haven't been providing. And so, go out and check it out. Go out and get New Warriors number 7 through 9 and the Hard Choices saga. Great stuff. You can't go wrong, and hopefully, you'll enjoy it as much as 17-year-old me did. I hope that you get that out of it, because that's certainly what I got out of it. And I loved going back and rereading this. It was like coming home to an old friend, and hopefully I can bring you more of that stuff. So that'll about do it for this episode of Why It's Great. I think I pretty much covered as much as I can on this, and I'll be back with some more of these. Maybe I'll even try to do them more than the once a month me and Pops did them. Maybe I'll try to get them in a little more often than that, since I don't have to coordinate like I always did with Pops. But again, I do hope we can get Pops back on this at some point. And I thank you for joining me today. And make sure to check out those links down below. I got the links to the past ones Pops and I have done. So if you liked what you saw here, please check out the ones we did together as well. And so you can get a little more caught up and see some more great comics that you should be out there checking out. And I'll be back again with some more stuff soon. Like I said, I'm working on a sequential thinking piece right now. It should either be this weekend or at the latest next weekend. I'll have that for you. And then I also am expecting in another crowdfunded comic that I backed quite a while ago. This one's been a long time in coming, so hopefully it'll be worth the wait, and we'll get to check that out. I'll probably have that for you later in the week. And after that, well, like I said, I'm going to be going to SummerCon this year at the Washington State SummerCon up in Puyallup, so I'll be there for that. And I'll probably do some stuff up there, maybe even try to get some video for you guys while out there, maybe some pictures of some cool stuff. So we'll have to see how that all shakes out. But I thank you for joining me today. Please make sure to like this video if you like what you saw here. And if you got anything you want to say, hey, have you read the book? Drop me some comments on it. Let me know what you think. On what I had to say about it. Is there something you think I overlooked in the book, or did you think there's something in there that's another angle that it could be seen from? Let me know. I want to hear from you down there, and also be sure to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the content that I'm picking up around here. Like I said, I'm doing more stuff than ever, and I want to be around for a while. So I want to try to up those numbers and get more people checking stuff out. So if you can, give me a subscribe, and share out this video if you thought it was worthwhile, and let other people check out some cool stuff too. So I thank you all for joining me today, and until next time, take care.